Good afternoon and welcome to my hobby bench. On the table today I've got a new customer's Saito FA-300T engine here to replace bearings in and get in a better operational state. And since this is a large twin, I always like to keep the parts for left and right side separate. So I always designate the top of the engine, the left and right I designate as if I'm behind the engine and the top of the engine is up. That means this is the left cylinder, this is the right cylinder. Now all of that is said because I ended up using my last little set of totes like this for another project, not an engine project, just general storage. But this is something I got from a local place here, and I really like these things because you can stack a large project like this into these bins like this. They stack together, and then of course this one here actually has compartments in it that I already have labeled left, right, and stuff like that. So these are just bins that I really enjoy using when I am disassembling an engine like this. So we're just going to begin. I'll do an initial inspection of this engine. I've already done it, but I'll do it on camera here. And this engine overall looks like it's in really good shape. However, it turns over really, really hard. And I haven't taken the plugs out of it yet, but I'm going to. Hopefully they're not super torqued. Good. This is left plug, and interesting, it looks like a Fox Miracle plug. Take the plug out of the right side. Okay, right side plugs out. Okay, so now let's see. It just is rough. It's very rough turning over. So it also has this lever here that's attached to this choke mechanism, and then this long extended throttle piece, or throttle cable. So I'm going to take that off. This throttle or the choke mechanism part is a little bit tougher to take off at this moment, so I'm going to just begin some quick disassembly here and put common parts in a common bin, or single piece parts in a common bin. I think the intake manifolds are probably the best place to begin here. Always like to remove these first. I'm just going to undo these nuts, and then we've got screws and bolts here, and I've kind of been test fitting to get the right tools out here quickly, so I'm not necessarily fumbling around looking for tools. That one was the easy one. This one is a little bit tougher to get because the way the intake manifold is and the way this bracket is here, it's just really kind of tough to get in here. So these are the first two screws of the 6 holding the engine mount and rear cover in place. So again, those will be common, put in a common bin. Now this one is yellow because it's a little bit shorter screw, because this is the one that's special for this particular side of the engine, this side, so it doesn't contact the connecting rod. That's the whole reason that one's yellow. And I like how they put a dotted yellow paint on the mount too, because it is easy. You can reverse these mounts. You can put this mount on this side if you really wanted to. I mean, it's okay if you do. It doesn't hurt anything, but I like how they've got that mark like that. Let's see how this feels in here. Let's see that one. Okay, after a lot of effort and a lot of repeated rotating and tapping with the wood hammer, I finally got the rear cover off, and as suspected, the gasket is toast, just because it can't handle that, but that's fine. I got a source for new gaskets. But so here's what this rear end of this thing looks like. It doesn't look too bad, it just feels really rough. I mean, the owner of this engine, Rick, was considering just heating this thing up, oiling and heating it and running it, and I was the one that kind of convinced him, you know, saying if an engine's been run 1 or 2 times and then sat for years and years and years, it's probably the best idea to simply just replace the bearings, which is why it's here. So I think with that, we're going to end this particular episode and pick it up with the next segment. Okay, so the next steps in disassembling this engine is to remove the heads, and I've already broken the fasteners free here. Now, Rick, for your edification in making this video, I am not expecting to see, and for everybody else too, I suppose, I am not expecting to see any kind of real carbon buildup or anything wrong with this engine whatsoever because of how low a time it is. I mean, I just don't see that as being what we're going to see here. So you're not going to really see, oh my, there's this wrong or whatever. You're not going to see anything wrong with this engine, because from what Rick told me, it may have had 2 flights on it, and then it was just left on a plane for 20 years. And Rick was really debating about whether he wanted to have just heat this thing up, oil it, and let it go as it is, or change the bearings. And I basically said, if it were my engine, and it had been, especially one of these, a big twin-cylinder engine, maybe not so much with a single-cylinder engine, but a big twin-cylinder engine, wow, look at that. Sitting for 20 years. Okay, maybe it's got a little bit more runtime than I thought. And not replacing the bearings just doesn't seem like a very good plan if this is something you really want to be using and flying with. Yeah, there is absolutely no real discernible evidence of any carbon buildup on the top of that engine, on the bottoms of those valves, I mean. But it's just so notchy feeling. I think what I want to do here is I want to just put this back down and take this timing cover off. And that's not going to be the right size. pistons off, and it is a bit warm. Okay. And take these connecting rods off. But I need to get my headlight on. Get the correct drive for that. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, which one of these is it? One of these has got to be it. That's it. So it is a 2mm. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to heat those guys up. I'm just going to break them both free and then just take them out. I'm doing the connecting rod on the right side through the hole of the left side. So this is right side connecting rod. Okay, it's held on by one thread still. Oops. There we go. I don't know if my headlight being on is actually assisting in lighting the subject for the camera as well as it's doing for me or not. I don't know. Okay, it came out just like that. I want to see if there's an orientation marking on there at all. I'm not seeing one. I think I'm going to grab that little screw I just took out. And maintain orientation here. And run these things back together like this. I'm not going to run it all the way together, I'm just going to hold it together like this. Okay, connecting rod. One connecting rod out. This says F for forward or front, so that's how it's going to go back in, and this was the one on the right side. So it's going to go into the right size hole, and now we're going to do the same thing for this one. forgetting to try to orientate this more camera friendly, and that's kind of the issue with doing this on camera, is that I have to hold things a little bit different than I normally would like to be holding them for best viewing. Ow! Yeah, I got that connecting rod really hot there, all the way to the top. You don't want to do that. Okay, let's do it like this. Yeah. Hopefully this thing's going to lift right off just like the other one did. Keep that orientation there. And this one I don't have to worry about because it's got an F printed on it. Wow, that thing is really, really warm. Forward. Okay. Wow, it's really still warm. Darn it. This time I thought I was screwing that screw in there and it wasn't. Okay. Left connecting rod. Alright, so now is the fun thing about pulling this drive hub off here. Just going to put a little bit of tension on that, maybe a little bit more, and then I'm going to heat it up, oil it and heat it. Drizzle some oil right down here where that tapered collet is, because that's where the friction mechanical bond is. Give it one more little heat, a little bit of. Now, watch the magic. Oh wow, that didn't take much. I didn't even need heat for that. And there we're off. Alright, so the rest of this disassembly, common piece, is just gonna be about getting this crankshaft out. Now that we have everything free that's holding it in place, it's just a matter of putting this thing on the vise, making sure I've got a big enough opening for this thing, heating it up extremely thoroughly, and tapping this thing out. Okay, so my camera shuts off at 30 minutes. It's got a 30-minute thing. So I had to shut it off because I was at 28 minutes. I had to shut it off so that I could continue filming and catch this. I think this thing is pretty warm. Let's see if it's warm enough to get this out. That's saying no. Hardwood is hard enough. That's saying yes. Oh. Alright. Here's our crankshaft. And it's rather warm. Collet. Crankshaft. Right on the bearing. Okay, front bearing is out. And that bearing's out. Okay, bearings are out of this engine now. Now we can just do some cleanup, install bearings, put it back together.